done. I just wanted to have a little chat about or walk through what I do when I've got all these scraps and things left over. When I'm working on a collage piece, I've been working on the double page spread thing, which is on using the colour blue on the topic of ocean, swimming, diving. I don't throw anything away. Like you see me in the video tearing things, tearing bits of paper to get it to the size and shape that I want. And then I'm left with all these pieces, these odd bits. Don't throw them away. I just get myself a little sort of container, box, tray, whatever, and I throw everything in there. And then I'm left with these because instead of throwing in the bin, I like to sort of see if I can reuse them in some other way. Right, okay, so if you follow the nature video, you know that I made some tags, but I also made this little card using scraps. I'm looking around to see if I can see the tags. Yes, I can. Just a minute, I'll grab those. Again, using up scraps that I had. This is lovely. I really love doing this kind of thing, but I don't have a lot of use for that many tags, if you know what I mean. So I do tend to enjoy making these kind of things as well. So I had all these scraps from this one, and I've just started to create some backgrounds here which I'll work with, and I'll put some wording on. I might stamp, I might perhaps add some embellishments, some of the wooden embellishments that I was talking about before, which I will colour up and stick on there. Maybe some ribbon, maybe some inks, whatever else I'm going to use to sort of finish these off. But these have just been made with these scraps, and what I layer them onto is just a playing card. Now, I'm just trying to think how many years ago, maybe 10 years ago, I did a series called 52 Cards of Anything But Grey. I only got partway through the series actually because life got in the way, life events. But the idea was I was taking a pack of playing cards, and it was around the time that film 50 Shades of Grey was out, and I thought it was kind of fun play on words. And I made all kinds of little background cards here, which I absolutely love doing. Really enjoy doing these because in each of these cases I was actually demonstrating a technique, and I've got heaps and heaps of these. I think I've showed these before. You can see all of them just using different types of techniques in a nice little neat form that I can refer to. I can look at and say, okay, that marks what I've made there. So now what I've decided to do is to start using some of the scraps that I've got from the collage to create these as well. Or if I'm making a video about textures, some of the techniques that I've used, move those out of the way. You can see this was using the texture paste, and I created a few little wall based cards with those, with some stamps and some sentiments. Okay, so that's that. So I've shown you these just using the scraps, but I thought what would be nice is just to work one through. Normally what I do is I will use like a gesso on the card to start with, which is something like this, which just gives me the base to work on. But actually, doing something like this, you don't really need to do it. You can just take your playing card and you can work directly on it. If you wanted to put something onto it like a like a crayon, or work directly onto this surface, you could use the gesso to start with. It might buckle a little bit, so don't worry about that. You might need 2-3 coats to cover what's behind, or you can then add a layer of white paint. Or something I've done in the past is to sand this a bit, just use a very light grade sandpaper to get the sort of surface that you can work on. So I thought let's just make one quick here with some of these scraps I've got, and then you can see the process that I've gone through. I mean, it's not anything complicated, to be honest. It's just doing that collage that we did before on the large double page spread, but just on a small piece. So you obviously are working with much smaller pieces of paper. Really, you don't have to think too hard about it. Whatever you put on there is actually probably going to look quite nice, so don't panic, I think, is the thing to do. And it's always fixable because you can sort of layer something else on top of it. Now I'm using the right type of brush here, which I didn't. If you saw my video on the doing the collage, I was just using a normal brush, and actually with hindsight probably should have used this flat brush. Now you're actually going to probably see some of the card coming through on this one because I haven't prepped the surface with the gesso to start with, but I'm not going to panic too much about that because I'm just demonstrating a little bit of the process, and we can always fix it up afterwards, put a few more layers on, that sort of thing, and just go with it. And basically don't worry about how it overlaps. Doesn't matter, does it? Because you can trim all this off afterwards. So I'm going to put, so I've got a couple, that's a lovely sort of tissue paper in the background, and I'm using also some of the gel plate prints that I used before. Some of these haven't been torn, so I'm having to tear them a little bit, but you can see I'm just layering on the glue just like we did in the journal itself. Just starting to build up something here. Actually, it's really therapeutic. I really enjoy doing this because not only are you creating something really nice, you feel like you're using your scraps as well. You're not, you know, if you're anything like me, I hate throwing things away. I really feel bad about doing it. We live in this world now, don't we, of sustainability and making sure that we, you know, use things properly, reuse things, recycle, upcycle. And so this gives us an opportunity to feel like we are doing something useful, something nice with our scraps rather than just throwing them in the bin. Having said that, if you want to throw the things in the bin, you just throw the things in the bin. Nobody's going to give you a hard time about it. Okay. So I'm just picking off pieces. Had that nice bit of embossed there. It's white, but we can colour it up afterwards if we want to. Not really sort of paying a lot of attention to what I'm doing here. This is gorgeous, this one. I absolutely love this piece. This was a Distress Oxide background paper that I had. And, you know, I just love the effect that you get with those, with it all running, all the colours running into each other. It's absolutely lovely. So what have we got left? We've got this strip. This is quite a straight piece, so I can't really tear very easily. What I might do is just tear one edge of it. So then we get a bit of interest along there. I don't generally like to work with straight lines. I do generally like to have torn papers in my work. I just feel aesthetically and to my eye it feels better. Now I've got a very thin piece here. I think I mentioned when I was doing the other collage piece, I don't really like using printed papers much. I do like to use my own papers. Now this, I didn't really talk about this when I was doing the double page spread because it was really just a visual. But this, if you remember one of my previous videos, we did texture paste through a stencil onto tissue paper. But with this one, I actually added some glitter on top of the wet texture paste. I think this is lovely because the idea with this was to simulate bubbles. And if we get this right, sorry, I'm a bit out of breath. I don't know. It's very hot here in the UK at the moment. I've just run up the hill actually from the village, the doctor's. So I'm a bit breathless. We've got quite a lot going on here already, so you could stop now. And actually, there's not really much showing through from underneath that we're needing to hide. This is just like a Posca pen on a piece of tissue, and I was quite interested in this effect. That's quite big, so I might actually keep that for something else. I love the dots and, you know, the bubbles and this kind of effect. I love this. So we've got one piece on there already. It's whether I put another one on there, whether I'm just trying to find the tissue paper that had just the bubbles without the glitter, and I can't find any. I think I probably used it all up. So do we put a couple more on? Maybe just a couple up here. Put a few more up there. Okay, and I'm just gluing it down. Now you could leave that to dry, but I have no patience. You'll see that if you follow my videos. I have no patience at all. I hate waiting for anything. I will not wait for a bus. I do not wait. I do not wait for anything. And it's got worse. I don't think I was this bad when I was younger, but I think now that I've got probably issues, I have the attention span of a gnat, basically. I've usually moved on in the conversation while people are still talking. I'm thinking about something else. It's a little bit more tricky, isn't it, when you're cutting something when it's wet? But you can see this is already starting to look quite nice, actually. Let's move some of that rubbish out of the way. And you can see we're just building up a little background. I'll just trim that off. And you can spend as much time as you like with this to get it to look exactly how you want it. This is quite plain here. I might stamp something over it, or I might maybe go in with another bit of, how about another bit of paper there, perhaps. You'll notice from my work that I really don't tend to leave open space, and that is purely a matter of choice for you. If you like a lot of open space on your work, fill your boots, but I do not. Okay, so that's that one. So you see you've got this sort of rather busy thing going on, which is more emulating the collage. And to me, this is like a little, how would I say this, like a little window shop treat to the main project. So it's like introducing the main project. It's basically summarizing or summing up what we've done in the art journal or in the collage journal. Okay, so you've got things like this, which is just basically using a large piece of paper on there. So there's not a lot going on there. That gives me a lot more scope to stamp, add images. I'm probably going to go for quite a fishy theme on that one, as opposed to this one where I'll probably add a sentiment. So busy again. And this one again, more like a sort of background piece that will need something else, perhaps embellishments added. Whereas I wouldn't probably add too much in the way of embellishments to these ones, which are quite busy already. And then we just add in the one we've just made there. And there you go. I've got 5 so far. I'll probably make another one of these little cards. And in the past, I have used them to mount onto the front of a greetings card. They work really well. I sort of just lay them up onto background piece of paper. And you can add the greetings that you want, the embellishments you want. And it looks quite nice because you've got them ready there to hand to use. Or you can do what I've done and just create like a box or an album full of these little cards. And it's actually lovely to sort of spend some time and look back at them. Thanks for joining me, and come again soon. Bye.